Bears icon Dick Butkus has died. Injuries derailed his career, but he made the Hall of Fame despite only playing 9 seasons. Less than a month ago, the 80-year-old Butkus was at Soldier Field before the Bears-Packers game and tweeted, "Somebody give me some pads and a quarterback to tackle." His viciousness was legendary. Packers running back MacArthur Lane once said he'd rather go one-on-one with a grizzly bear than a Chicago Bear, and that was Butkus. After his playing days, he became a well-known pitchman with his Miller Lite commercials, with Bubba Smith making them known to another generation of fans. Dick Butkus is survived by his wife, Helen, and 3 kids. And you look at the numbers, again, they were iconic among some of the star of stars in Bears history. Made the most of his 9-year career in the league. In those 9 seasons, Butkus made 8 Pro Bowl selections, tied for the 3rd most Pro Bowls in Bears history. Only Mike Singletary and Walter Payton had more. The voice of the NFL here at ESPN, Chris Berman, joining us now with much more with his perspective. Boom, in an era of toughness and nasty play, what separated Dick Butkus from everyone else?
Hi, Kevin, and our condolences to everyone. And I can't believe the Bears are playing tonight. It's just very odd. So to answer your question, look, Ray Nitschke, Jack Lambert, these are all intimidators. Nobody intimidated more the opposing team just by looking across the line of scrimmage than Dick Butkus. I mean, those Bears teams were not very good, okay, record-wise. But if you were playing the Bears, you knew that this would maybe be your toughest game of the year, even if you won. So Dick Butkus was, I think we have to put in perspective, Kevin, football then, I don't mean to sound like it was the 30s, but we have to remember that running the football was still more prevalent than passing. Therefore, the middle linebacker position in itself, as you know, was the quarterback. I mean, it still is, but not really. It can be. Was the quarterback equivalent on defense. You called things. You saw things. All the teams played a 4-3, so you were the middle linebacker. You were the only one in the middle, and you were responsible for the runs going this way, the runs going that way. Not so much to fall back and pass defense, but yes, maybe sometimes come through and hit the quarterback on a blitz, on a middle linebacker blitz. So this was the most important position without a doubt in the era that he played, 60s, 70s. Yes, a fierce defensive end, a Deacon Jones back in that time, et cetera. But there is none that would make others shudder as much as Dick Butkus. And I am sure that anyone that played against him or played in that time would agree with what I just said.
Boom, you have hosted for the last 2 decades the Pro Football Hall of Fame enshrinement. How is he viewed by other Hall of Famers?
Well, Dick came some, not every year, Kevin, and but you could see the respect in the eyes of the Hall of Famers, those much younger, those certainly at that time. But as you pointed out, just to remind everybody, you've been doing this show here, we've been talking about Dick for an hour and a half, that it's funny how the most ferocious then became kind of I don't want to say a lovable bear, you know what I mean? But through a little twinkle in his eyes when he did these ads or was on TV as a kind of, not a softie, but, a different side of him. So a lot of them knew him, Hall of Famers, younger. I don't mean babies, but knew him as, he was a really good player, but he seems like just really kind of a teddy bear. And again, I'm not trying to make a pun about the Chicago Bears. So when he came, there was a different little look to him, like, well, we mentioned Jim Brown, okay, and I showed the picture. We did a piece about a month ago. There's a picture with all of the other Hall of Fame running backs who were there a couple of years ago when Jim was there, huddled around him as if they were huddled around greatness, even though they're all Hall of Famers. I don't know that there is a picture. I'm sure there is, But any middle linebacker, I'm sure Ray Lewis would tell you this. I'm sure, obviously, Brian Urlacher would tell you this. I'm sure, well, who would be the last decade? Yeah, Mike Singletary before him, Bears. The last decade would be Bobby Wagner, but it's a different position now. All of them would look up to Dick Butkus, I am sure. I mean, he kind of defined the position and will define it forever, even though the middle linebacker position in most defenses is completely different today.
Born in Chicago, he was an icon at Illinois, and then hard to come up with a player more connected to his city than Butkus with Chicago and the toughness. What were your lasting memories when you watched him play?
Well, it was must-see TV, even if the Bears were behind by 2 touchdowns, which I'm sure if I looked it up, they were a lot, right? You tuned into what, I mean, he was the epitome. The Monsters of the Midway was coined from the 50s defense Bears, but it's gone down through history. When you watch Dick Butkus play, my goodness, what will he have for us the next play? Like, how ferocious, or just how will he bring this ball carrier down? Wait a minute, there was a sweep around left end. How did he get there? Now, Dick was not a, 4 sprinter. Middle linebackers are not normally. But it would be, watching the Chicago Bears would be, even if you didn't have a rooting interest in the game, Kevin, I want to see defense at its epitome, and Dick was that. He was that.
Boom. We're watching some of these highlights, and just the physicality of his play. It feels like if he played in the modern NFL, he would adjust, but he would have been banned with some of these hits. I mean, some of these hits are just vicious, and they're nasty, and then he just kept on coming up and playing after delivering a monster hit, the next play, another monster hit. I mean, it's just hard to comprehend that this was the football back in the 50s.
Well, yes, it is. And remember, not that it wouldn't hurt if Dick Butkus, the player then, and he was bigger than most then, okay? But he wasn't 6'8", 300. I mean, he's just bigger than most then. But the players he was hitting then weren't even the size of today. Not that a Dick Butkus hit wouldn't rattle any ball carrier, any receiver going over the middle in the game today. Yes, and a lot of these tackles have been outlawed, not necessarily because of him, but he would be one. I mean, you think of Ray Nitschke and Jack Lambert, but this is, I know, names that to our younger viewers, they're just names, right? But you're showing these hits, and they're etched in the back. I was young when he played.
Yeah.
But we knew, and by the way, how was that draft? Dick Butkus and Gale Sayers, right, that year. So how'd that work out?
Yeah, it worked out well for the Bears.
Well, and then the Bears kind of never, although Gale's career was cut even shorter than Dick's. But, these hits were, I am sure, if you're at Green Bay, you're playing, or Detroit, you're playing the Chicago twice, right?
Yeah.
So we know that. You're a Western team or an Eastern team that doesn't play the Bears every year, and you see Week 7 at Chicago. I'm not trying to be facetious. We better be ready. I better have extra chin straps for that game. And even though we'll probably beat the Bears, we're going to pay for it.
Well, number 51.
That's what Dick did. He look, you can make an argument. You never want to say, by far and away. I don't know. If you're going to tell me someone was more notorious as a middle linebacker, more than him,
no,
we'd have a pretty good debate.
I'm with you there, Boom. Number 51 was a bad man. We do appreciate you sharing your thoughts here tonight.
Yeah, our condolences to his family and to Bears fans everywhere who consider him one of them.
Well said by you. Quite a career in the NFL. Dick Butkus played from 1965 to 1973, earning 8 Pro Bowl appearances. tied for the third most in Bears history. And again, the career, just 9 seasons, had to deal with knee injuries, but good enough to make the 75th and 100th anniversary NFL teams. Dick Butkus was a bad man when he played football, dead at the age of 80.